Hello everyone, and welcome to another full-grown impressions video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Our Darker Purpose, which I will get into, of course, in just a second. But before we start, I want to give a little bit of a backstory to this game. Basically, it was created by, or it is being created by, Avidly Wild Games, which, as far as I know, started out as like a grad project type thing, and now it is moving into a Kickstarter, like a full game. It's kind of like The Binding of Isaac, and you'll see that as we get into it, but it takes Binding of Isaac and adds more like RPG elements. There's a rolling mechanic that it might not sound like a huge deal or anything, but for me it kind of gives it a little bit of an edge as far as skill is concerned. The only thing is, it is being kickstarted right now, or it is on Kickstarter, and it really needs your help. It's only got like 5 or 6 days left, and they are a little bit over halfway. So if you could go ahead and check out the Kickstarter, maybe, donate a little money their way, you'll get a copy of the game, of course. I'm assuming if you pay a certain amount, I think it's like $15 for the lowest amount or whatever. This game definitely needs to be kickstarted, if only because I would really like to go past the first floor. This is a really fun game. As you can see, there's one floor. For right now, we can only do either the easier Hall of Demonstration or the tougher Hall of Demonstration, and these are both demo floors or whatever. You can't go past these, so if anything else, just support it because I really want to get to the top of what I'm assuming is like, I'm not sure if it's a school or if it is like, I think I've heard some people say it's like an orphanage or something, and the text here might say, but I don't think I really have time to read that right now. But I would like to do a run-through of both of the floors, I guess. Or not both floors, but both of the paths you can go through. And I'm guessing later on, when you actually, the full game is released, assuming it is released, and I really hope it is, you will be able to go through, I guess, either path to get to the top. Maybe, I'm not exactly sure, of course, because, it's not out yet. But either one, it gives you like a different amount of green gems, like rewards or whatever. I'm guessing there's going to be like a hard path through the game and an easier path through the game that gives you like a different set of rewards either way. And if we go back out to the main menu, I kind of should probably get to the game, but I want to show you the other stuff before we actually get to that. The class schedule is not exactly done yet, I guess, or it's just not implemented yet. I'm sure they're working on that. But there's language and lit, math and science, all that kind of stuff, and there are periods left. I'm guessing that might be floors. I don't want to speculate too much. Maybe after you go through a certain amount of floors, or maybe after you spend a certain number of credits or something. As you can see down there on the bottom, I have 13 green credits that I'm guessing maybe you'll be able to unlock some of these question block things. And in an earlier version of this build, this is, as far as I know, the newest version of the build, or of the game, there were actual, like, icons in place of those question marks. So I guess they didn't want, people to know exactly what items you might be able to unlock, but I really can't wait until that part is implemented, because that would be kind of cool if you can unlock new things, the more you play. But anyway, all that aside, we're going to go ahead and start the easier Hall of Demonstration here. Now, as you can see, it is a lot like Isaac, even as far as the beginning. There's text on the floor, you can move with WASD, you can shoot with arrow keys, just like Isaac. I'm not sure what we're shooting, like fire, I guess, and we can we can roll, which speeds us up. Now, this is that rolling mechanic I was talking about. For some reason, it really gives it that little bit extra to me. I didn't think maybe a rolling mechanic would do that, but it really helps you get away from enemies, and if you can use it well, it'll benefit you a lot. Now, we have like almost like a vending machine, I guess, where we can buy a juice box, a Vexing Vial, or a broken mirror. I did not play the build, or I haven't played this build yet, more than like for a couple of minutes. In a previous build that I played, this vending machine was not here, so I'm not exactly sure what that is. I think once you defeat some rooms, you can get money and come back and buy the, juice box, which replenishes your HP. You get 3 to start off with. I'm not sure what the Vexing Vial is, and I'm not sure what the broken mirror is. So if I get enough money, I will come back, hopefully, and be able to buy that. And I don't believe, I wouldn't guess anyway, that money would carry over between floors, or between playthroughs. Well, it would probably carry over between floors, that would just kind of make sense. But if you're playing from the beginning, I have a feeling that money will not carry over, so I'm not sure if I will ever be able to buy the broken mirror, because that did cost 15 coins or whatever. I'm not sure if I've ever gotten 15 coins. Now, I was going to go ahead and bring up the menu, but I might as well go ahead and destroy these enemies first. And as you can see, we're fighting, like, animated objects. I guess that was a desk. That's what it kind of looked like. We're fighting, like I said before, I'm not sure if we're in a school, but I think that is sort of like what we're in. And we are a girl, and by the way, it's a desk. The desks and stuff, the scenery talks to each other, so that's pretty cool. And before, when I said it was kind of like The Binding of Isaac, every once in a while there will be a text, conversation like this where they do talk about how similar it is to that other game or whatever. And I'll get into that in just a few minutes as well. But before we go on, I really wanted to show you this. I think this is new in this build, where you can press C for the character sheet or whatever, and you can look at your stats. We have 100 HP, and apparently we are about halfway to leveling up to the next level, and we've got some attack speed stats and attack range and all that. And apparently our move speed is 200. I'm not sure if that's, normal or not. But anyway, there is a leveling up mechanic in this game where you, of course, can level up. I'm not sure exactly how much a normal enemy will give you as far as HP goes, or XP. And by the way, it does not look like we can attack those rotating desks or whatever those were surrounding that guy, so I guess they won't give us XP, and I did not think to look at how much XP that guy gave me. When you do level up, though, and by the way, here we have a red guy. The red enemies are sort of like special enemies, I guess, or kind of like mini-bosses. You could probably think of them as from Isaac. The only thing is, they're not in specific rooms like Isaac, or even like Paranautical Activity, the blue rooms. They're just in random rooms, as far as I can tell. And they drop items when you can destroy them, and there are more than one per floor, so you can end up getting a fair few number of special items per floor. I'm not sure if there's like a set number of, special enemies you can fight per floor. That would probably make sense, because, it is a randomly generated game, so it'd be kind of weird if you got, multiple crazy good items per floor. But before I pick that up, might as well go ahead and destroy this, what looks like a trash can, I'm guessing, shooting whatever that is trash, I guess. And it got me there, not too big of a deal. The health potions, by the way, fill up 15, I believe, HP. Let's go ahead and pick this up. R to pick up. We got a gold star, which is plus 3 damage, plus 3 life, plus 3 move speed, plus 3 crit chance, and plus 3 defense. That's a lot of plus 3s, and that was a lot of stats that we just leveled up there, so that's really good. Now, there are kind of a... By the way, I'm not sure if I mentioned, this is a, very pre-alpha. When you boot the game, might as well go ahead and heal so I can pick up this health potion, and it turns out that Q is your health potion use. I kind of forgot that. I was pushing every button but Q. But yeah, when you boot up the game in this state, and by the way, you can play this game. I do believe they put a public demo out on their Kickstarter page, so if you want to play it, I definitely recommend you go play it. It's probably one of the most addicting games I've played lately, and that's saying a lot considering there is only one floor. But anyway, when you boot the game, they give you a little splash screen that's only there for like a second. By the way, we leveled up, but it says that this is a pre-alpha, and I'll talk about the implications of that in just a second. Now, we have two options here. When you level up, you always, as far as I know, get two options, and they are kind of given to you in the form of a book. The red badge of courage and tankiness, I guess, is this one. We get plus 20 defense, 10 move speed, minus 10 move speed, and plus 40 HP. And there's a little quote there, I guess. I'm assuming those are like quotes from either other books or movies, or, homages to other forms of media. But anyway, over here we have the gangs of New Edgewood move slower. Plus 20 defense and damage and plus 10 move speed. And also enemies have 10% less HP. That sounds like a lot better to me. I'm not sure if they... I guess it's, yeah, enter to accept your level up. That sounds like a pretty good level up mechanic there. Or, benefit, I guess. I'm not sure if there are ever, like, if some level ups are better than others, because that one seemed like, to me, like a fairly obvious choice. Like, the other choice was slow me down and gain 40 HP. I've actually had to waste some health potions already to pick up other health potions, so it doesn't look like health potions are going to be that big of a deal, so I'm not sure if it's worth losing like 20 move speed or whatever it was just to get 40 HP, though I am taking a fair bit of damage right here, so maybe that would have been a good idea. Now, it does look like the trash cans, or whatever these are, don't do that much damage, which is probably good, because these projectiles are extremely fast, so I could probably dodge them if I had concentrated a little bit more. But here we have another one of those special enemies. Looks like we have Nick the Charitable. If he's so charitable, I'm not exactly sure why we are, beating him up here. We're going to take his item, whatever it is. But yeah, the atmosphere of this game is one that is extremely well done, I believe. Like, the atmosphere is very cohesive. I really do, I'm not going to say I feel like I'm in the orphanage, or I was going to say hospital, or whatever we're in, the school. But it is very well, it's cohesive, it works very well. And of course, the scenery talking to each other really does add to the effect. We're going to go ahead and pick up this item though. We got Shy Stella's Diary, which is plus 15 damage and plus 1% lifesteal. That sounds like a pretty good pickup. I've actually had that before, and the builds that I played before this, there were a lot of, I forgot what the name of it was, that diary pickup. There were, like, every other item, it seemed like, was the diary pickup. But since the new build has come out, it does look like there are a fair few number of new items, which is always a good thing, especially in a rogue game, a roguelike game like this. I don't want to go into the whole, is this a roguelike? This is as close to the definition of a roguelike, in modern times anyway, as I think you can get. Now, these spiders on the floor do count as enemies that you have to destroy to open the room, as far as I can tell. Some enemies, like that one that was rotating around the boss, or the, like, mini-boss we fought just a few minutes ago, as far as I can tell, do not count as enemies that you have to defeat, and sometimes there are rolling, like, yellow balls, spiky ball things you don't have to defeat a room. But anyway, over here we have a pickup. We have Frothy's Compass. We get Shots Ricochet. I've actually never seen this item before. It looks like now when we shoot items off of walls, they will now ricochet. That sounds like a pretty good thing. It's not like in Binding of Isaac, you know, like my reflection. Exactly, even though that sounds kind of like a little bit like what it is. But this one actually has to hit a wall, it looks like, before it turns around. So I have to imagine it won't be quite as, you know, destructive as my reflection was in Binding of Isaac. Now, I would really like to sit here and wait and see what else they say, but I think you guys get the idea of, you know, the scenery talks to each other. It is pretty cool, like, flavor text. So if you're playing the game, I definitely recommend you stick around and listen to what they have to say. I don't believe what they say really has much to do with anything other than just, like, the storyline, if you want to call it that. And by the way, here are those enemies I was talking about. Or I'm not even sure if you could classify them as enemies or just, like, environmental hazards or whatever. But they are, you know, like I said, you don't have to defeat those to complete rooms. Now, as far as completing rooms, as you can see in the top right, there is a map. Maybe it's just not, I can tell where that little small red thing, I almost wish and by the way, like I said, this is a pre-alpha, as you can see right under the map, so I don't, you know, fault anything too much. But I almost wish the map was a little, maybe easier to see somehow, or maybe like you press a button and you can bring the map up, and it would just be gone otherwise, because sometimes, if the room is just the right shape, I'm gonna go ahead and pick this up. Well, I don't want to get hit by that thing. But if the room is just the right shape, we get a sock puppet, so it looks like we get a shot speed up kind of thing. Or actually, it looks like we shoot two, yeah. But sometimes, if the room is the right shape, the map will go in front of some of the enemies, if they're like in the top right corner or whatever. That hasn't happened too often, and I don't think it's happened in this video yet, but that can be a little bit annoying as far as, you know, being able to see the enemies you're trying to shoot. And by the way, I keep forgetting it is Q to activate your juice box instead of like E or R or whatever. But yeah, sometimes the map can actually get in the way, so I'm not sure if they're, you know, looking into changing that at all, because it's not that big of a deal, but it can get in the way sometimes. We're just going to go ahead and continue on here. There are boss doors, of course, just like in the Binding of Isaac, and I'm not sure if the boss doors themselves, I guess, look any different than the other doors. And here's another special enemy. This one is the Cantankerous Count. But yeah, there is a boss, just like, you know, the end of the floor boss or whatever in the Binding of Isaac, that is always the same as far as I know in the demo, or the alpha. I wouldn't even call this a demo, because, like I said, it is a pre-alpha. I'm trying to, like, hammer that point home just to let you guys know that it is not done yet by any means. And it looks like we get a level up here. Great expectations of juice boxes. Plus 15 HP, that sounds great. Plus 10% healing per juice box. And we can carry 2 more juice boxes. On the other hand, it looks like we get move speed and projectile speed. I think I would rather anyway, go with the glass cannon run and pick the kite runner kites. And we also get to pick up this, which is plus 5%, or plus 5 damage and plus 10% attack speed. So it looks like we're going to be able to shoot extremely quickly here. And since we got that one item, I forgot, by the way, that there was a juice box up here. I might have taken the other one now that we could have carried 5 at a time or whatever. But I got an item earlier that, like, splits my attacks into 2 or whatever. So that would probably work very well with my attack speed up or whatever. Now, I would really like to find the boss room. I think we are as strong as any run that I've ever had right now. So I'm not entirely sure if we need to explore the rest of the floor at this point. As if I come across the boss room, I'll probably just go into it. That's another thing. At this point, there's not really too much point in basically exploring the floors. And by the way, sometimes there are these electricity things that will shoot of electricity, of course, and sometimes they hide things under them, like that coin or whatever, that you've got to be kind of careful or you will get hit going for it. And I don't know if you noticed, there was an enemy, it looked like he was smoking almost, that releases these clouds, and you definitely don't want to walk into those, or they will damage you as well, like if you're in the radius of the cloud or whatever. But yeah, if we can just go ahead and find the boss room, that would be great. This is the first floor, by the way, of course, and it is pretty large, so I almost shudder to think of how big the future floors are going to be. This is probably, like I said, just a demo floor, or it is just a demo floor, and I have to imagine it would probably not get, you know, too much bigger than this, but the map is pretty big up there, and there's a lot of unused space. Now, I might as well go ahead and interact here with the vending machine, I think I might as well go ahead and buy the Vexing Vial. The makes juice boxes special. Sadly, the affected juice burned through the table floor in a 5th form history seminar. I'm not sure what that did. I'm guessing it changed our juice box somehow. Maybe it gives us more replenishment, if that's even a word. But if you see what I mean, I'm not really sure where on the map we can go at this point, because I'm trying to like look at the map. It looks like the exits are blue, maybe. I don't see any floors or any doors that we haven't gone in, so I guess I'm just going to have to walk around until I find a door that we did not go in. The doors, by the way, I just didn't remember, the boss doors are red, so I'm sure that if I look around, it wouldn't be that hard to find a red door. But as you can see, there are coins all over the floor, sometimes anyway. I wouldn't say they are all over the floor, that you can pick up in spinning that vending machine. This, if I remember correctly, I don't remember if I picked the hard floor or the easy floor. I think I might have picked the easy floor, which I probably should have gone with the hard floor. But the glass on the ground kind of reminded me that the hard floor has like chalkboards or something that attack you on the walls, of course. Where else would you put a chalkboard? So as you can see, you know, the hard board or the hard floors are, of course, harder than the easy floors. So I kind of like that there is a different path that you can take throughout the game. Now, the only problem is I'm really bad at reading maps, apparently, so I cannot find the boss door. If I don't find it in just a second, usually I would not do any editing on these types of videos. I will probably just go ahead, and what did I say, plus 15% move speed? That's pretty good for just using a juice box, so I guess that's what that vial did. I wonder if that stacks, or if that's, like, just in one room, or if it, like, is continuous throughout the rest of the floor. Might as well go downward here. I don't remember. Wait, I don't think I went over here. Yeah, I didn't go this way. See what? I don't know if it's as obvious to you guys as it is to me, or if it is just, you know, universally kind of hard to read the map. I have a feeling it's just me, because I've watched a couple of videos on this game, and I don't think I've really seen anybody else have that much of a problem reading the map. Anyway, we are getting very close, I have to imagine, to the end of the floor. As you can see, this room doesn't really have anything in it, even though it does have those spiky balls. Sometimes when you walk into a room, and by the way, there are rooms like this that have fire on the floor, and the boss will also have that, like, mechanic where there is fire on the floor. Sometimes when you walk into a room, there will be these where you've got to dodge, you know, the fire. Luckily, if I can just get it to, yeah, there we go. It will start from where you're standing still, usually, but it will light up on the floor, so it is kind of easy to tell where the fire is going to be coming from. But it looks like we're going to be able to make quick work of Frothy the Dragon here. I don't have any, you know, qualms about this boss fight. We're probably going to be able to take him out fairly easily. Might as well go ahead and use my potions or whatever, because I don't really need them after this floor, after this room. And it looks like the Vexing Vials or whatever gave me a lot of bonuses. But that's all there is to the boss. Looks like it kind of fell apart there. The boss, by the way, the boss kind of, like, highlights the fact of, like, the art style, I guess. I really like the art style, and that boss kind of just jogged that in my memory. But for defeating the pre-alpha demo, we get 2 green credits. We took 148 points of damage or whatever, and we dealt 14,000 damage, and our grade was passing. I'm not sure what the passing grade exactly means, but I have to imagine it probably has something to do with how much damage you took, or how much damage you dealt. I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure that will be a mechanic that is realized further in the actual release. But I think that is gonna wrap it up. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it was a lot like the Binding of Isaac, but it did add a lot to the Binding of Isaac that, or not, I'm trying to, like, not make this seem like it is the Binding of Isaac +1. It is definitely its own game. It's got RPG elements that I think will really be cool once the actual game is released, and I think they said on the Kickstarter or on Twitter or something like that they are aiming for early 2014 for a release. But they won't be able to release it unless you guys support them on Kickstarter. So I will put a link to their Kickstarter. And what is the other thing? Oh, Steam Greenlight. They are on Greenlight. I will put a link to both of those in the description. I definitely want you guys to go support them on both of those, because I would really like to play more of this game. And if you're a fan of the roguelike genre, I have a feeling that you will too. So I want to thank you guys for listening to this, full-grown impressions video, and I hope you guys tune in next time.